Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today's episode we are going to fix up some wiring. We're going to do the rear tail light. We're going to clean up some wiring on the front of the bike, and do a little bit of painting on the handlebars, just to touch up all the missing black paint on the handlebars. So I'll give you guys a quick. I've taken off the headlight just because I need some more access in here. I need to get all these wires and the headlight boxes, got two of them, I need them set up properly. I've tried tucking them in here, but I've got to take into account when I'm steering, all those wires and those boxes are going to get hit and get crushed, so I need to somehow route them all through the front here, which I have decided to go through the front stay part here with these. So with this one, I've taken this one completely out. You can see it's got quite a bit of length on it. I might try and route these straight through here just to delete all of this, then tuck it all through here so it's not all hanging in there, because there's just no room at all in there. So yeah, when the headlight goes on, you still have that little tunnel down there, and then these boxes will just sit on top of the headlight itself, and that should be well and truly out of the way. Also, when you chuck these covers back on, these go on the sides here so you don't see any wiring or anything like that. I tried chucking them on the front with everything tucked in there, and these they go down too much, so you can see how they're shaped like that. It just pushes on everything and you can't get these to go in enough, so I'm really going to have to spend some time tucking all of this stuff away. And then with the handlebars, you can just see here, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to clean all of this, clean that. I'll just chuck down some painter's tape and then just paint up all of this. Just all this stuff here that's a little bit faded. I might see if I can get a little bit on here too. I've just got some decent gloss black paint with rust guard in it as well. And then the other thing that I'm doing today is getting the rear tail light set up. As I said in the last video, I'm not going to do the indicators yet because I don't have my number plate holder bracket yet. I keep forgetting the name of the thing. The tail tidy, the number plate tail tidy. So I'm waiting for that to come in because that also has the brackets for the side indicators. So these have integrated indicators, and then I'm going to still be running the side indicators as well. So I'm going to wait for that to come before I do any of the indicator wiring, just so that I know I've routed it all correctly. And I want to splice in the tail light indicators with the side indicators, so that'll all be done together. And then the rear tail lights I'll just do today. What I've decided to do is I had to chop off the plug from these because it doesn't fit my wiring harness on the bike, because this tail light is from the Gen 2 version. So I was originally going to steal the original plug off of this one, but I've decided instead of doing that, because I may decide maybe in the future I might swap them around, or I might still use it, so I don't want to go cutting that up and having to cut it again to put the plug in. And plugs are just messy anyway when you try and get those pins out. So instead, you can see in here that this is just the female plugs in here, so I'm just going to basically run some males. So just some of these ones here on the ends of the tail light, if I can get one out. Give me a second. Oh, everything's going everywhere. Fun. Let me chuck this over here. Okay, so I'm just going to run one of these, well, a few of these I'm just going to chuck them on the ends of this, and then these basically just plug straight into there, and that's good to go, and that's all covered anyway. So I'm just going to do it that way because it'll be a lot quicker and easier, and that'll get all of that set up. But yeah, so first off, I'm just going to do a time lapse of this wiring, getting all that set up and getting it all in there as neat as I possibly can. And then I'll jump on to giving this a quick paint. I also want to paint this because this is very faded. You can put some like product on it, but it's very faded, so I might try getting it out, but it was just really awkward. There's like a oh no, it's right there. I could probably just take that whole piece off actually. So I'll just take that bolt out there and take this whole piece off if I can, and just give that a quick paint up just so it looks much better on the bike. And then eventually I am going to get these wheels repainted because they are absolutely horrible. But yeah, other than that, I'll get this all set up and ready to go. Alrighty, so I've got these painted up. I've got that chain cover painted up. I'm not going to worry too much about the underside of it because you don't really see it. It's just the top part I was mainly concerned about because it was so faded. I've got that painted up too. I'm going to give them a couple more coats before I head inside, and then I'll let them dry overnight and reinstall them again in the morning. But I've got all this wired up. I'm just going to leave this here like that. So yeah, like I said, I just clip them in there with the male ports, and I'm just going to leave these ones here until I get that tail tidy so I can do the indicators. And then that there, I'll just zip tie all that together. This part here, it came up a lot better. It's nothing professional or anything, but it was just really faded and like had some corrosion and stuff, so I cleaned that off and just wanted to give it a bit of a helping hand to make it look a bit better. It looks much better. But yeah, that's all I'm really going to do to that. I got a little bit of overspray in there, but I just quickly cleaned it off. I spent most of my time redoing all this cabling and wiring down here. Some of it I done off camera just because it took me quite a while. I had to take off the stay and the headlight and the intake. Had to get all that off again just so I could get in there properly and just redo it all because I had cables and wires that weren't in the correct spot. But yeah, so that's all back together now. I managed to get a lot of the bulk here out of the way, so now I've got it steering properly without it hitting anything like it was before. So what I'm going to do is basically, I've got these here, so I've got the double-sided tape ready to go. It's either I chuck them to the side of the air filter box like that, or when I get the front fairing kit back on, I might put it on the inside of the fairing kit, whichever one's going to work out best for me. Best for me. If I'm having to take up the fairing kit a lot, it might be better for me to just chuck them on the airbox, stick them there. All of this wiring here is just going to sit along the intake pipes like this, and then the cover here basically goes straight over the top of everything. It sits in here like that and just covers everything up anyway and keeps it all in place. I might chuck a couple of zip ties on some of them just to make sure they're not wobbling around anywhere. I tried my best to get these inside of here so that they're out of the way, but with these forks moving when you're steering, all of these big bulky plugs were just all in the way, getting hit by the forks, and it was just, yeah, wasn't going to work out that way. So this is the best way I could think of, getting everything out of there and along the outsides of it, and that way it's just cleaner in there anyway. So I think it worked out a lot better that way anyway. So yeah, that pretty much concludes this episode. On the next one, I think, yeah, I'm basically ready to put on the fairing kit and getting all the front back together and the tank back on, and that is basically a majority of it. Other than that, I do have these here. I believe these are for this bike. When I purchased the bike, they did come with it, so hopefully they all fit. I've lined them up and it looks like all the bolt holes line up. So these are just like your step backs. So one for your gear side and one for your brake. So it's basically just fully adjustable levers and everything. So I'll muck around with them on another episode and get them all put onto the bike. That's another reason why I didn't bother painting this black part here in black again, because it's going to be coming off anyway. All of this is going to be swapped for the gold one, and then again on this side all of that comes off and it all gets swapped out with the gold one. That'll make the bike look 10 times better as well. It'll go with the white, and the blue and the gold as well, so it'll all match in and look real nice, all the Yamaha colours together. Thanks again for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Like I said, I didn't record too much of that in there because it just took too long for me to do, so I shut the camera off and just continued on from when it was all finished. But yeah, if you're enjoying it so far, like, comment, subscribe. Goes a long way, helps me out a lot. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time.